All right, Dean, we aim to bring education,
We do.
insights,
Yeah.
trends,
Yes.
hot topics
Yes.
to our reseller and ISV partners.
Yes, we do. Yes.
But that's really only as good as actually understanding them,
Ooh,
their point of view, their challenges, their experiences.
this is fair. Yes, exactly.
I kind of, we can't be good at what we do if we don't understand them, or at least that's what we're always preaching to them.
You got that right.
So we should put our money
practice,
where our mouth is.
Yeah, do a little practicing of what we're preaching over here.
So we're talking to one on the podcast.
We are.
We've got Elie Katz of National Retail Solutions.
This was a great
joining us.
conversation.
It really was. Ellie's going to talk about standing out in a crowded field, what
Yep.
it means for VARs to work within the channel,
Mm-hmm.
some recurring revenue hacks, his advice on tech and trends,
Mm-hmm.
and what to watch out there. I mean, spoiler alert, he's going to talk about some AI because who doesn't? If you're not paying attention to watching AI, I don't know what you're even doing right now.
That's right. That's right. But how inspiring this conversation.
It really
'cause
was.
He is proactive, reactive, and man, does he understand his market.
Yep, he's a man who he and his company, they built themselves up.
Yeah,
They
good stuff.
They paid
Good
attention
stuff.
to their customers. They listened very carefully. And by the way, you're going to also find out how maybe politics has a little something to do with this. And not in a, like we're going to get into some kind of political conversation that everyone's going to get mad about it or anything. Just understanding that, being a good politician could actually make you really good at sales.
Can we tease that he may be a mayor at one point in time?
We can tease that, sure.
So, he's got good perspective.
Yeah. You have to listen to find out more about that, though.
Absolutely.
Sorry, folks. We're not going to give you a time code for that or anything. I'm John Martin.
And I'm Dean Reverman.
Welcome to BlueStar Nation. BlueStar Nation podcast is brought to you by Elie and the M51 rugged mobile computer, which delivers a 6-inch full HD touch display.
Boom.
Android 14 OS, powerful Qualcomm 6490 octa-core processor. I think that was in the latest Mission Impossible movie.
Yes.
That's the thing they had to steal.
Have you seen that movie, by the way, yet?
I have.
Oh boy. I can tell by your look already.
I don't know if Elie wants me doing a full film review in the middle of their ad here, so we'll save that for offline.
We'll save it for offline.
Integrated NFC and an optional 2D barcode scanner. From enhancing retail store operations and warehouse management to ticketing, boost efficiency with the M51 mobile computer. All right, let's check out some features here, D.
Let's do it.
13 megapixel rear camera.
Boom.
8 meg front camera.
Yep.
Chemically strengthened glass.
Ooh.
It's IP68 rated.
Yes.
It's optional accessory. Elie loves their accessories.
Yep.
Including device and battery chargers,
Yep.
rubber boot, scan trigger handle, and more. And of course, you get Elie's enterprise-grade support for security provisioning, OEM config, and much more.
Holy moly.
Lots of
all
good
that
stuff.
packed into one.
All that packed into one device. So to learn more and see additional specs, check out the link in the show notes or contact the BlueStar Elie team. All right, our guest today is Elie Katz. He is the founder, president, and CEO of National Retail Solutions. Elie, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. We appreciate having you. Tell us a little bit about your background. I know a lot of folks, when they work on the retail side of this business, probably had some experience in retail, but maybe not. I don't know. Yeah. Tell us about that. Tell us what led you to NRS and what you guys do.
So thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be here. BlueStar is the gold standard when it comes to, especially when I go to these trade shows. Everyone goes around the BlueStar booth. It's very popular, so it's nice to be now showcased on your podcast. I appreciate that.
We appreciate you.
So I started National Retail Solutions, which has become the #1 point-of-sale register for the independent convenience, liquor, and tobacco shop in the country. We have over 33,000 locations. Coast to coast in every single state, including Montana and Hawaii. And we even started going into Canada a little bit as well. And now we're looking into some other countries. And we were just approved to work in Puerto Rico. But the sole reason that I started it was because I recognized when we started about 10 years ago that these independent convenience stores, and I'm talking about the truly independents. I'm not talking about the 20, 30 chain stores. They're independents also, by some accounts. I'm talking about the onesie, twosies, the hardworking individual that's working behind the counter, that's trying to just make a living, live the American dream. And I recognized that they were lacking in technology in order to run their business efficiently. Now, I come from a retail background. I own several restaurants. I've owned bakeries, pizza places. So I know the trials and tribulations and the struggles of an independent owner. I know the fact that I'm the one who has to be the head purchaser, the HR director, the manager,
the chef sometimes. Yeah,
sometimes you'd be surprised. You're having a party and those chefs come late. You're behind making that stuff is cooked. Exactly.
Yep.
And I understand their pain, and I understood that they needed technology to run their business more efficiently. So we created the world's greatest point of sale register, the National Retail Solutions point of sale system, and one at a time. Right? This was hand-to-hand combat for every store. We didn't go into some boardroom and walk off with we've got 200 locations. One at a time. We built it up to our over 30,000 locations. And we're growing at a very nice, healthy pace because we really put all the bells and whistles. What I like to say is it's very robust, but at the same time, easy to use, full of functions that everything from loyalty, rewards, inventory, the buzzword today, the e-commerce, websites, merchant app, consumer app. So it's very, very robust depending upon how a merchant wants to use it, and very easy to use because it runs the gamut as far as the types of people that are running these businesses.
What a good news story there. And you hit the nail on the head again, right?
Yeah.
We have somebody as a practitioner in the world and now, instrumental in deploying technology to help out.
Right. And what's important to us also, because we're big fans, obviously, we're trying to speak to resellers and to ISVs that are out there doing this work every day and help them understand. And we know a not insignificant portion of our customers are playing in that SMB market too.
Yeah.
They're working with some of those independent retailers
100%.
out there. So they understand what you've been going through, and that's hopefully why I think that this conversation can really resonate with them. So Elie, I kind of want to kick this off then let's talk about the POS market, because it's obviously a competitive B2B segment, especially, again, what you're talking about, going after a lot of these true independents where I'm sure it's easy for a lot of them to jump online and just find some kind of fly-by-night random website that offers up, a point of sale and some hardware at a cheap price just for a little bit of a payment fee or some kind of subscription model or something. So let's talk about this market. What are you seeing out there? How have you at NRS actually adapted and changed your approach over the years to keep growing and to stand out in a crowd and up against that kind of competition?
So 10 years ago, when we first started, I had to do a double sale. The first sale was to tell the merchant why they needed a point of sale system, right? They were very happy with their Casio or their Sharp that they got at Costco or Staples. It was doing the job, it was no muss, no fuss. Everyone was very content with what they had. So I had to first explain to them how, listen, and I use this analogy and it stands today, although I'm sure some of the people listening to your show may not even understand what this means. But I said, okay, do you have a flip phone or a smartphone, right? Does anyone here have a flip? Listen, I had a flip phone for many years, and it was great. It called the people I wanted to call. It had the address books of everybody I need to address. It even did conference, I think, much better than these smartphones, right? But the reality is that if I wanted to run my life more efficiently, to be able to do the banking, to be able to do all those apps that are in there, I needed to get smarter with my phone. And that's the same thing with the Casio register or the Sharp register and my point of sale register. That they are a flip phone. They're workhorses. They'll work great. They'll get you from A to Z, but they won't do all the bells and whistles that you need to run your business more efficiently. They won't give you your inventory. They won't give you loyalty programs. They won't give you reward programs. They won't help market to the customer that's there. So you need to up your game, especially these independents, because remember, these independents, they don't have a big bench of employees that can be sitting around the store.
No.
So usually the person behind the counter, or many times the person behind the counter, is, as we started in the beginning, the purchasing person. And when they leave the store, they need to know what's in that store. They need to know, and that's why we have that merchant app. The merchant app has really cut the umbilical cord for these merchants. These merchants before had to be in their store because nobody else knew the prices of all their items. And now these merchants are able to go shopping more efficiently. They're able to actually have a better life because they can go on vacation and watch their store and see their inventory levels and see the prices and see how much is being sold and see how much their brother-in-law is stealing from them. They could do that no matter where they are around the country. So around the world. So we really gave a lot of great tools to these merchants, these independents, to be able to run their business more efficiently, have a better lifestyle, and make more money, and level the playing field as well. Because we have these connections now, especially National Retail Solutions, we're the leader in this independent space. So anyone who wants to get into, when I say anyone, I'm talking about the Fortune 500, so the Fortune 100s, that want to get into these stores, they come to us because they're not going to go knocking on 30-something thousand doors by themselves. They're not as crazy as me. So they come to us and they say, hey, we want to do the tobacco rebate program, right? I'm sure you've heard of it. You've heard of it. It's very popular. The Altria, Philip Morris, they have tobacco rebate programs, and they give rebates to both the customers and to the merchants based on certain information. So we went directly to Altria and Philip Morris and integrated and was able to roll out this program. And that's great because they weren't able to reach these stores before they did that. We want to do the marketplace for DoorDash. We integrated with DoorDash recently. And I want to tell you that I know that people are used to these marketplaces, the DoorDashes of the world, based on restaurants. But I am so blown away and amazed by the amount of sales that are going through the DoorDash. Obviously, I can't talk about the numbers because of but they are off the charts when it comes to these convenience stores.
And
it makes sense. Listen, I have a 19-year-old son.
Oh,
he
absolutely.
7-Eleven. He gets up in the morning, he opens up the app, and he goes and 7-Eleven comes to him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You know what's brilliant about that is the double dash. Like you can order your thing, and then it's
like,
prompting
hey, you want some
you.
Liquor, you want something from Walgreens.
And I know you can't talk about it, Elie, but I guarantee that's probably where a lot of these sales come from. Like, well, wait a minute, pick up a 6-pack or whatever. Yeah, right.
I was shocked. I will tell you this, and I'll share this private little thing between us. I do have a restaurant. I told you I have a few restaurants, but I have one restaurant where my partner is living in the past. He's got drivers. He's been doing deliveries the same way for the last 27 years, and he doesn't want to adapt to change. And he doesn't want to take on the Ubers and the DoorDashes and the, Grubhubs and Instacarts. He doesn't want to take on that stuff. And I'm begging him. And then I see the numbers. And I said to him, listen, these are the numbers for convenience stores, right? Most people don't think about buying from the convenience stores. Imagine, most people think about these marketplaces for restaurants. These are the numbers, this astronomical numbers that they're doing through convenience stores. Imagine what we would be doing for our restaurant. Whatever, I can't move the needle with him, but that's it. Frustrating. This was my therapy session. Thank you, guys.
It's good stuff. Hey, let's talk a little bit about expanding of your services, because I think that's pretty fascinating, and love the fact that you are just all in on this sector, right? Convenience stores, tobacco. And when I look at some of the service offerings, could you just talk a little bit about how you've expanded? I mean, you have now NRS Purple, which is payroll services. You have NRS Pay. So you've gotten into the payment processing. You've got cash advance to help these store owners, I guess, with equipment and stuff like that. Can you just comment on how you've evolved as a company to do these ancillary services that are serving, again, the specific need that you're going, or the specific market that you're going after? I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. So we started. Listen, we make money. Thank goodness, we do very well. But we started with a good mission statement to help these independents not only compete, but to level the playing field. We recognize that all these big brick and mortars or well-funded companies, corporate companies were coming in, and they were really not like crushing and hurting these independents. I live in a small little town, 6 square miles. In my town, there's 3 CVS's, 2 Walgreens, 3 7-Elevens. I want you to tell me how a small independent convenience store, and they're called different stuff depending upon where you live in the country, right? So, on the West Coast, it's called tiendas. On the East Coast, they're called bodegas. In Michigan, they're called party stores. We know them as our corner grocery. They really are the place where people feel comfortable, because, it's more than just a shopping experience. It's really people feel home, especially when there's different cultures going on in the stores, right? I come from Mexico, and this corner grocery carries a lot of Mexican items, that I was used to when I used to live there, things like that. Those are the stories that we hear. So these are really hardworking individuals, and we started by giving them these tools to level the playing field, and it's been doing a great job. And we keep coming up with new tools and new products as we go deeper into the relationship. Right, that's the thing about our business. We don't just get the account. We maintain a relationship with these stores. And that's why these stores love us and stay with us. Most of the stores do not cancel. I mean, you always have, and we could talk about this when you ask the next question about other technologies, you always have some slick salesperson that walks into the store that tries to sell them on some other product. And that's what made me launch NRS Pay, right? So NRS Pay is our credit card processing. This is a true story. I'm walking in the Bronx with my boss, and we walk into a store, and everyone's under this is 8 to 10 years ago. Everyone was under the impression that these stores don't take credit card. It's an all cash business. Not only did they take credit card, but some of these stores have 2 terminals in them, right? And I'll tell you why. This one place, we asked them to see the statement last month. They had $650 something in credit card charges, right? People bought $650 worth of charges, and they were charged by their credit card processor $190 for that honor of collecting $650. Egregious. Theft.
Egregious, absolutely.
Yeah, but people get taken advantage of, right? Because especially since everyone's got a cousin, an uncle, a brother, a nephew that does credit card processing. And that's the hardest, right? When I go in, your guard is up, right? Who is this guy, Elie Katz? What is he trying to sell me? My guard is up. I don't trust him. But when their uncle goes in, it's like, my uncle, I'll do it. Yeah. Meanwhile, he just signed him into a 3-year contract. He just gave him a hefty cancellation fee. He gave him a starter rate, and that's going to go up. He's certainly a harder competition for me to compete against. So we came up with NRS Pay credit card processing. No contract or no long-term contract, right? You got to sign an agreement. So no long-term contract, no cancellation fee, free equipment, clean rate. So I always say, nobody's smarter than you who runs the business. If you don't feel after a month that you're saving money with NRS Pay credit card processing, take the unit, shove it in a box, send it back. What did you lose? Yeah. Most people don't do that.
Yeah. So
we recognize that they needed credit card processing, especially a lot of these businesses. It's one of the top items as far as their line items of expenses, credit card processing. So we gave a credit card processing. Then we recognized that after this COVID taught this to us, that after COVID, if you weren't involved with payroll, if you didn't have payroll, you were not eligible to a lot of these government programs. So we came up with credit card processing and payroll services. Then cash advance. It's a dirty business. It's a dirty word, cash advance, right? Because we all know that a cash advance is higher rates than a bank. But if you go, and now I'm putting on my restaurant hat again. When I wanted to get cash flow for my business, I went into the bank. And I waited 4 months after filling out an application, and I still did not get a phone call back, right? I can't run my business that way. I've got $10,000 worth of meat sitting in my freezer. I've got $4,000 worth of containers sitting on my shelves. I've got $12,000 worth of employees working in the back there, and I got rent I got to pay. I need cash now. That stuff is going to sell, but it's going to take time to sell. So I went and got a cash advance. And they look at my, the different metrics that they look at, and they give me an advance based on future receivables. Yeah. And I got money in 24 hours. Yes, I paid more for it, but it wasn't really secure, So that's what a cash advance is. It's not a dirty word. It's actually very helpful for people that want to expand their business, people that want to buy equipment, people that want to buy other businesses, and people that need to pay their bills.
Kind of getting back to, I'm sorry, did you have a question?
No, I was going to say, this is a hell of a story about how to be like sticky in your business.
Yeah, you got that right.
By offering up so many, all these other services.
Understanding your customer, what their needs are, and where applicable, add it to it. And that's where I was going to go with my questioning here real quick, Eli. On your software side, do you have developers in-house? And then are you like...
We do everything in-house.
That's what I figured. So
we don't have one of these open,
right.
Code
Yeah.
Or, we do everything ourselves. We have developers all over the world working for us in different products and different features. We have literally come out with features upon features. I want to tell you another quick item that we do, and we just came up with a feature with this. So you walk into 7-Eleven and you see your products, that priced at certain prices. We take it for granted that they have a Frank's hot sauce, that they have a certain ketchup, that they have, in a certain prices, and forget about where they placed it. That's all planned also with planograms. But you got tens of thousands of dollars worth of back-end people every day that's pricing these things based on their knowledge and based on market research, etc. You go into an independent convenience store, that person doesn't know how to price things. What do? They went to Costco, they bought a case of Poland Spring water. It cost them 46 cents a bottle, so I'll sell it for $1. Okay, sounds good. That's how he or she decided to price their products, right? I'll make a little bit. So what we did was we aggregated a couple hundred stores in that area. And then we sent out all this information to those stores and said, hey, did you know that these are the top 300 selling items in your area? These are the average prices that they're being sold for. So owner can now take that as a guide and say, hey, wait a second, I don't have this number 4 item gum or whatever it is, and I've been charging 10 times the amount of money for this thing. So we educate them. Now, a new tool we just came out with, and we'll talk about it later on in the segment, an AI product recommendation engine.
Okay, I was just about to go there, but go ahead. Yeah,
I just but these are the things that we do for these independents. We act as their full back end office. We give them, get them online. We give them a website. We give them the loyalty, we give them the apps, we give them the rewards, we integrate them with their camera system if they want to integrate with their camera system. We give them the features and functionality. Now we're going into other products, which we'll talk about. So we act as the full back end to these small independent businesses.
I think this leads nicely into our next talking point, because listening to you, you've done the work. You've done the hustle. You've learned how to create this strong business with a chosen vertical. You understand your customers, what they need. You've done a lot of back end building out and taking care of a lot of business on your end. But you're here in the channel. You're fairly new to working with us. I'm sure there's a lot of folks in the channel you haven't yet started to work with as well. So let's talk about that, because I think there's a lot of...
We're fairly new, but we've been envious of BlueStar for many, many years. I go to a lot of these trade shows. Besides the fact that you probably got the best swag at some of these trade shows. Yeah, we know that.
Well, we like to hear that. But so talk us then about your expectations coming into this channel or working with distributors like us, working with hardware manufacturers, other VARs and ISVs. What's your expectation for coming into the channel? What do you expect out of it? What's the appeal of joining up with a reseller channel and becoming kind of part of this ecosphere that we've built?
Listen, life is about relationships, right? I can sell this pen, and your friend can sell this pen, and my pen could be super duper, and your friend's pen could be okay. But he's your friend. You have a relationship with him or her, and you trust, you feel comfortable, and you bought that pen. That's why it's so important for us to partner with these resellers, because we understand that if we want to evangelize our product, and we want to tell everybody about our product, and we want to tell them how it's going to help your business, and we want to tell everybody how we're not just a point of sale register company. We don't just set it and forget it, not to steal somebody else's tagline, but we are more about trying to help you grow your business. We're here for the long run. We're not a fly-by-night company. We're not just a POS company that you get cheap on the internet and there's no training or there's no service or help or support or updates or upgrades. We come up with an update literally probably every 45 days. New features, new functionality, new fixes, whatever it is. So we rely heavily on the channel, and we are fortunate to have invested a lot into the relationships. We have channel managers. We have over 1,500 resellers that sell our products. And that's in addition to the fact that we have boots on the ground in almost every single state, coast to coast.
Do you lean on some of these folks, like your vendors, when your customers are coming to you with new asks? Like, you just mentioned AI. I know that when you walk around NRF and you start getting into like machine vision, right? And frictionless commerce and the ability to, we're just going to set up a kiosk and it's going to recognize the object and do the point of sale very quickly. What's your take on that? I mean, do you like to embrace and really start to work with these manufacturers, or just kind of walk us through some of your, how you approach that?
So we lean on everybody proactively and reactively. So reactively is we get an email. First of all, if you go to my website, nrsplus.com, on the bottom is a picture of me, probably 20 pounds lighter. And it says, ask the CEO or contact the CEO. Okay, so I make myself accessible to everybody. All right, we want to hear from everybody. Right? And based on the comment or based on the criticism or based on the suggestion, we funnel it to the right area. So the other thing we do is we have roundtables. We have roundtables with distributors. We have roundtables with salespeople. We have roundtables with the end users. A lot of these products are being made, not our products, other companies' products. They're being made in an ivory tower.
Yep.
What the CEO would like to see. The colors, the how it should work and what it should do. We bring in merchants into our different offices around the country, give them food, maybe give them a little bit of a gift card or whatever it is to come on in and incentivize them. And we sit down and say, hey, what is missing from your business? What can we do to build better our point of sale register? What is missing? What is needed? All of those, we solicit that information from our end users, the merchants. So we say our point of sale system is being built by the merchant for the merchant. And that's how we grew our company. That's there's no secret sauce. I'll tell you our secret sauce. Our secret sauce is we have the most amazing employee base. We put together, because like when I sit with investors all the time and they're asking, how much you charge for this and how much you charge, and why are you telling me all this information? Aren't you afraid that somebody else could hear? No. If you want to try to duplicate what we've done here at National Retail Solutions, you got to take every one of our employees because they're all that valuable and they all care about our customers. And that is how we grew our company.
What's sage advice, right? Be proactive, be reactive, listen to the customer, and then have the wherewithal to act on that. Yeah. So kudos to you. That's awesome. But we talk about that a lot, right?
Like we preach all the time.
Yeah, you have to understand, and it was a good take on vendors too, because sometimes they can get a little detached maybe from what's happening in the marketplace, and we always give kudos to those vendors that we feel like are really they are intentional about being boots on the ground and listening to what's going on, and because they can have an influence on that, and we think that that's super important as well. As a distributor, part of our job is to be in that communication fold. So good stuff.
Yeah, I agree. So Elie, we're big fans here of the idea of recurring revenue. It's if you go back into the 200 plus episodes of this podcast, I couldn't tell you how many times Dean and I have
every other time we're talking about
recurring revenue option, ways to maintain a steady base, but also create easy reasons to stay in touch with customers, to keep on bringing in new additional revenue, whether it's with existing customers or helping you get new ones. So what are some hacks you have? What are some recurring revenue hacks that you think that people should be out there taking advantage of?
So I will tell you this, that I believe in incremental recurring revenue. I don't believe in charging a lot for two reasons. I don't think that our merchants, that's our community of merchants, can handle those big bills. So, I believe that you charge based on what you're going to, charge them what they're going to need and what they're going to use. Don't charge them for a big giant bill for stuff and features that they're probably never going to use or get to, right? So that's one thing. So, I guess that's the government the government part of me. I have a little bit of a government background. I'm active in my community. And I don't believe that, if you're not using the pool, why should you be charged for the pool, right? I mean, I understand everyone pays taxes, especially property taxes, but, not everyone has to pay for all the different programs if you're not using. So it helps keep our units and our monthly recurring fees reasonable, and it's also customizable. So if they need something else, if they want a deeper level of information on reporting, right? So like, what is my percentage of that I'm making on a certain product, and other deeper reporting that we may offer. Fine. So then go and take and click the button for advanced reporting. But then it's a little bit extra, but it's or upgrade your plan and it includes advanced reporting. So that's my advice on the monthly recurring fees. Don't be one of these companies that have a massive monthly fee, even if they have a lot of features that they're offering for that massive fee. I may not use it. I may not want it.
Yeah.
It's I don't know about you, but I get a car every couple of years. I lease them because I put a lot of mileage on and I destroy my cars. So I lease them, and every one of my cars have come with a sunroof or a sunroof. In fact, my last car came with a double sunroof. You know how many times I've opened it in the 3 years that I've leased it?
2. 1.
I think once because my daughter clicked the button and then I had to figure out did she leave it in the open position and then it's going to rain and I'm going to have a swimming pool in my pool.
That's right. Yeah.
Like why are they spending the money putting it in? But that's what they do. They shove all these different bells and whistles into the car. Even if you're never going to use it, it's going to end up costing you more money. And that's not my philosophy. My philosophy is pay for what you eat.
Yeah. And offer them up the solution. So, what I'm looking at the ultimate list of recurring revenue on the RSPA site.
Yep. I was actually looking myself a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay. So, stuff. I mean, they post that every time. And, I'm scrolling through this list and I'm like, dang, you guys, Elie, you've got just about every single, you've got 50% of these already built into your overall solution, coupled with the fact that, hey, turn it on if you need it kind of a thing. Yep. But at least, you're understanding the marketplace. You're developing tools and applying those when needed, because everybody's different. That's why they make menus, I guess, as the phrase goes. Everybody likes something different.
Yep. That's why restaurants have menus. Everyone has different tastes.
There you go. Right. So it's like, if you have it, if you and can respond to the audience, or I'm sorry, your customers, you can find ways to do recurring revenue and have it be meaningful to their business and helping them grow as well. So
there's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all POS.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you can... No. I take it back. I'm sure there's companies out there that want to do that and think that that's something you can do. But to Elie's point, you've got to charge an exorbitant amount if you want to do that. And your odds are you're giving somebody something that maybe they'd only need half of, if even that. So why not start with what they need and then figure out what they need to layer on top of it, and then you can do that for all your customers and give them a better experience. Elie, I did want to come back real quick. You mentioned your government experience, and I did forget to mention that you have some mayoral experience in your background. So,
I do.
How does that inform?
Mayor twice, current deputy mayor.
There you go. So how does that's got to inform the way you kind of approach business and sales? If you can handle the political world, you can handle anything.
It formed me the way I approach our customers, and I recognize that I have to be responsive. Right, just like you have to be responsive to your constituents if you're going to be in it long term, right? You have to be responsive. My customers are my constituents. They're our partners. When I travel the country, I visit as many as I can during my visit. Obviously, with 30-something thousand, it's not easy to visit all of them, but I do try to visit a handful each time I do travel, and thank them personally for their partnership, and also ask them. Right, we talked about proactive, reactive.
Yeah.
Ask them, what could I do to make it better? What are some of your pain points? A lot of people's pain points are also just lack of information, lack of knowledge, lack of knowing that your unit can do that. And sometimes my competitor preys on that. They go in and they tell, our POS. I give this analogy, but it's just an analogy. I made it up, right? That someone goes and they say, hey, I got this amazing letter writing product and it has AI in it and it can do all these great things. you should move from, let's say, your current letter writing product. And like, oh, wow, with AI. But meanwhile, they didn't know that their current letter writing product also has that in it. So it's a lack of information, but I got snookered. I got sold on the fact that somebody else. So we have been coming out with every Saturday, a release that we send out, not just to our customers, but to the world, a Did You Know segment. Did you know that our point of sale has this? Did you know that our manageable small chunks of information that
that's really good advice,
just so that they can know about, the different stuff. And then we also came out with the Chinese menu, and I wanted to do it as a Chinese menu, and I could say that as someone who actually owns Chinese restaurants. But we wanted to come out with the Chinese menu of all the different items so that when somebody comes in and says and tries to sell them the Brooklyn Bridge, they go, wait a second, I don't need that because actually I have the list of all the stuff that NRS has. And our system does that, then thank you very much, and show them the door. But
I love being in contact with your customers. Listening to them and offering that is because it's true. I mean, sometimes you do need those things, but it's interesting to think about it. And when you think about how you're developing the business, though, I mean, how often you say you come out with changes about every 45 days or so, things like that.
Upgrades, releases, feature functionalities, things like that.
Yeah.
We have our roadmap that we're always
well, that's where I was going to go, the roadmap. Yeah. And so you've got you're listening, you're putting these things, you got a whiteboard behind you. Maybe you're putting them up on the whiteboard.
And going I got a bad whiteboard behind me, by the way. I got this whiteboard over here. It's like no matter what you write in, even if it's erasable, it becomes like a Sharpie. You can't get this stuff off. I got some ideas up here that have been here for 4 years. It's embarrassing, but it makes me look good. Like, oh, I'm actually working.
Well, where I was going with that is, so you got this process, right? And you do all this development, and then maybe you forget to tell people that you have these kind of features and functionalities. And we all can learn from that, right? Even at BlueStar, we're remiss at reminding people all the things that we can do, or, in this case with Elie, it's like, hey, we already had that functionality. Well, so we didn't leave.
I think you get so busy talking about your products, sometimes you forget to talk about yourselves, maybe too, and what you can do.
Yeah.
I love the whole did you know that, because we're always talking marketing. We're marketing guys, so we're always talking marketing. And sometimes I feel like, a lot of our customers are more salespeople. They might be thinking to themselves, well, why do I care about marketing? Like, well, if the two are working properly, they're working well together. And stuff like a did you know email that explains what's going on, that's a marketing ploy. That's something you're doing, that you're doing a bit of marketing that has a sales component to it, because it's teaching people about something maybe they weren't aware of, or an option that they have available to them. But you're doing it in a way that doesn't necessarily come off as being pushy, like I'm trying to sell you something, but more of a, hey,
we're not selling
I just want you to know.
It's not only going to our customers, by the way, it's going to everybody.
And
by the way, these are usually items that are already inside the machine that you don't even have to do any upgrades or feature purchases.
There you go. And I think the other lesson there is maybe go out and get a job in public service, and it'll help you understand a little more about how to speak to people and listen and be available, You
make a joke, but that's the reality.
That is.
In politics, it's not what you do, but it's what people thought you did.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. I could work every single day, morning to night, and give my 120% to my constituents. But if they don't know that I'm working so hard for them, and they don't realize that I've delivered on their street paving and lawn cleaning and all that other stuff, I'm going to be voted out of office next election cycle.
Yeah.
So somebody else will come in. It's a great example. Someone else will come in and they'll sell them. They'll tell them how to make the sun turn on every single day if you vote for me. So,
all right, we're going to let Elie wrap up with this in a moment with a little more additional advice and some trends maybe he's keeping an eye on. Before we do that, I want to take a quick moment to talk about what's happening around BlueStar Nation. I imagine most of our listeners, viewers are probably LinkedIn users. Well, maybe you only log on once a month or so to accept some connection invites. Maybe you're there every day. You're posting. You're interacting. Maybe you use it to find potential new customers. Do some networking.
Do a little networking. Yeah.
Well, whatever you're doing, you should take a moment and follow BlueStar there while you're there.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
If you want to know why, if you want to why should I follow this company?
Why should I follow BlueStar?
I follow people. I don't need to follow companies. Well, we think we have a pretty good social game out there.
We don't think we do.
We do.
We've got a good social game.
We have a mix of informative, educational posts. You can glimpse into some of the products that we distribute. We talk about some of the latest events, webinars, what we've got going on that you need to know about. And we have occasional little bit of fun. we all like to see something fun and distracting in our feed from time to time. Right?
Yep.
Well, we've sparked a lot of conversations lately with posts like, where would you sit on a flight with certain celebrities?
I love that one.
And channel vets. A lot of folks had a lot to say about that.
Yep.
We looked at some stereotypical office basketball bracket players, what those look like. We looked at office fouls around Super Bowl time. We have our regular Pets of BlueStar segment. Today, Sam and I were out filming a fun little segment for 4th of July, which as of the date of this episode comes out will be tomorrow. You can check out that post and see how we went all out for 4th of July. You'll understand that when you check it out. So find us on LinkedIn at Blue-Star, or check out the link in the show notes to follow our page. While you're doing that, take a quick moment to like this show, subscribe to our channel, subscribe to YouTube, leave us a comment, leave us a review, check out the Blue Star Nation blog, send in your ideas to us, email us at anytimenation@bluestarinc.com. All right, let's wrap things up real quick here with first a little VAR value. And again, Elie, having someone on here that actually understands what our customers are going through and knows the life they live, I thought it'd be helpful to maybe get some advice, because sometimes I think, people do get maybe a little bit insulated in their world and, they think they're kind of on an island, maybe a
little complacent.
Maybe a little complacent. So they're not thinking about what they need to do to stay relevant. So give us some advice. What do you suggest for folks to keep them relevant in the years to come? Are there any particular tech industries, trends, anything you're watching out for that you think people should be talking about and paying attention to?
Okay, so I'm going to answer that, but I first also would like to give a plug to BlueStar, right? Because I have also, as someone who buys a lot of equipment, you want to buy from a reliable company, someone who's reputable, someone who's going to deliver the amount of product that you need so that it doesn't disrupt your business, and someone who stands by their products. And BlueStar has always done that. So that is something that everybody should know, and not from you, but from a customer. So I will tell your listeners that is absolutely another reason that they should consider BlueStar and look at all your products.
We didn't even have to pay him for that. That was that was off the cuff. I appreciate that.
That's important. I think that's what everyone should know. As someone, listen, I'm a CEO of a company that relies on equipment.
Yeah.
And if I don't have equipment, my customers don't have equipment. If my customers don't have equipment, my salespeople get frustrated and don't get paid. And if they don't get paid, I lose salespeople. It's a wicked cycle, but that's the truth. So you have to rely on vendors that you could trust. And BlueStar, as I've said it 3 times in this podcast, is the gold standard and one that people trust. All right. So now you want to know about my trends. Okay. So listen, everybody knows that the buzzword of today is AI, right? It's whatever. Doesn't matter what you're doing, it's AI. We're talking about NRF. I went to NRF every single aisle was AI. I went to get, I explained this to me. I went to get coffee and I got AI coffee. I don't know what it did, what it predicted what type of flavor, I was going to have. I don't know what it was. But everything is AI. We have at National Retail Solutions not just recognized the AI trends, we've adopted, we've embraced, we've created a department to specifically focus on AI. I mentioned about the AI product recommendation earlier, where we give, then we have other ways that we help not just the salespeople with AI services. We also have online. We have customer support with AI online as well. We have internal features and functionality, and we have this core group from our technology department that's constantly looking at every single area of our business on how to make things more efficient, effective, and be better as a company, and be better as someone who provides services to our customers using AI. And that's what we're doing. And we've done that with AI, but also that's on that side. And then as far as other features and products, we're starting to get into the restaurant business. What we've seen is that a lot of these independent convenience store owners, not only is their convenience store a little bit now of a restaurant, right? You go into a Wawa, you see, and they're not just selling sodas and chips, they also have an entire food section. So we've had to adapt and adopt our point of sale register to be able to handle the food service and the QSR business. And now we're going even deeper using the same model, the same exact mindset, and the same techniques in order to be able to tackle these independent restaurant world. And we're investing a lot of money in that as well.
Really, really good stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
doubt.
relentless efficiency. Love that.
Yep.
And then listening to the customer and reacting to it. Yep.
Yeah,
How can you go wrong doing that?
You can't. That's
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
I mean, you want to talk about
But you have to do it.
I mean, you're talking
You
about
have
a
to be
gold
intentional.
standard. That to me is
That's
a,
the gold
is a
standard
gold
right
standard
there.
of
Yeah.
being a reseller.
That's right.
Is listening and adapting and understanding your customer and just paying attention to what's actually happening out there. You know, Elie, we've been talking a lot this year about AI. I mean, let's be honest, we've been talking for a few years about AI now.
Right.
But a big part of like what we've been discussing on this show lately is the idea of practical AI use cases, not just the hey, AI can be shoved into everything.
Maybe it could do this.
Yeah, cool ideas that might come out of it at some day, but more of like how can people actually go out and do something with it, either to improve their business or to deliver better and newer outcomes to their customers. Yeah. And again, that's exactly what you're talking about, that you guys have made an effort to figure out how can we do that.
Internal and external use.
Yep. Agreed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's really good stuff.
All right. Well, hey, let's wrap up as always with what's on your radar.
Yes.
This is where we get to talk about anything in the world of tech, innovation, science, the news, a piece of entertainment, whatever we feel like that's got our attention, caught our eye right now. Elie, I'll let you start. Anything else that's on your radar right now?
So I touched upon our food business, that we're going to be going a little bit deeper into the restaurant world. We're going to be creating a very economical or very reasonably priced register for the restaurant business, and we're going to be adding a lot of the different bells and whistles, the AI, and a few other surprises that we have in store for trying to stay ahead of the trends. Right? What did Wayne Gretzky say? Don't go to the hockey puck. Go where you think the hockey puck's going to be.
Yeah, that's right.
I definitely know that was not like exactly what he said, but it was something like what he said.
Skate to where the puck's going to be. Yeah.
So we are. Listen, we have a phenomenal team here at National Retail Solutions. I can't stress that enough. I'm very lucky and fortunate to be working with some of the most talented people, and we are going to be continuously helping our resellers, give them more products to sell, give them more items, functions, and functionalities. So that's where National Retail Solutions is going. We keep going and growing.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Dean, what's on your radar?
Well, I'm going to stay on the AI.
Okay.
Because we have to talk about AI.
Well,
Here's the headline that now I came out of the video production world, so this headline kind of grabbed me. AI ad for NBA Finals cost $2,000 to make and 2 days to make it.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't watch the NBA, but apparently, and we'll put a link in the show notes to this particular commercial. But the ad was about, these ravenous fans, and it features a shirtless elderly man draped in an American flag, a farmer floating in an inflatable pool with eggs, an alien chugging a pitcher of beer. It's like just these scenes.
It's crazy,
what is
AI
going
slop
on?
type stuff.
Yeah, but it's a really good commercial. Yeah. So, and apparently the company that hired him, which is Kalshi or something like that. I don't know. There's some kind of finance company, of course. These companies that have the money to do that. And this basically this YouTuber filmmaker called PJ Ace created it. He did 300 to 400 generations of 15 different clips, and then mashed them together, and boom, created a commercial. Now, I mean, when you think about NBA Finals or the Super Bowl, I mean, these are $1 million spots.
That's a good point. It's still going to cost you millions just to have
for the production value. That you would usually pour, $1 million plus in just the production of it.
Right.
So this is a commentary on how things are changing, and you hear that LA's slowing down, in the video production world. But $2,000 in 2 days to make this ad, it's a pretty funny ad, by the way.
I don't know if I want all of my Super Bowl ads, for instance, to be AI generated.
I guarantee you, I'm calling it now. I know it's 6-7 months out, but I would say just about every ad is going to be Gen AI.
There will be plenty of them that will be. Yeah. I'm quite sure of that.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
And they'll all be equally insane.
Yeah. But take a look at this commercial. It's pretty crazy.
I mean, I guess that's not terribly surprising either, because again, if you're on any kind of social media, especially like the video apps like TikTok and Instagram Reels and stuff, those things are just filled with the
more
AI
and more
slop, as they refer to it.
Absolutely.
Just random. And sometimes, and I admit, sometimes it catches your attention. You're like, this is kind of entertaining, and you find yourself watching it for a few minutes, but there's some of it also just feels like an endless, like, I just want to get through this and get to something that's actually at least slightly real, so as real as social media can get.
Yeah, really. So what's on your radar there, my friend?
So I don't have an AI thing, but I do have the potential for extraterrestrial life.
Oh, okay.
We're always looking out to figure out if ET's on his way at some point.
So are they here? Is that what you're going to answer?
We've got a little bit more promising indication that there might be some life out there.
Okay.
I know, again, that doesn't mean that we're getting visited anytime soon.
Yeah.
But the latest findings from the James Webb Space Telescope, which we love that
thing,
and all the amazing photography that it takes, has found the planet K2-18b, which is 124 light years away.
Holy.
So, just right next door, has traces of dimethyl sulfide, apparently within some of the potential water that's on this planet. That is a biosignature of marine microorganisms like phytoplankton that we have here on Earth.
Okay.
So, there's some stuff they're seeing out there.
How can they tell this?
I had that same question.
What do you call it again? Dimethyl
sulfide. The article didn't go too depth in it, but apparently there's just like some indicators that they get from the signals that they receive that indicate certain types of particles. And it's one of those things that I'm sure a scientist understands a hell of a lot better than we ever will. But that they're able to identify signals and certain emissions that come from certain types of particles.
124
light years away.
But
it's a type of planet called a Hycean planet. It's a theoretical class of worlds characterized by having vast liquid oceans and a hydrogen-rich atmosphere. This particular planet it revolves around a red dwarf star. It's got a very short year. It's a 33 day year essentially.
Wow, that thing's moving.
But it's also like it's a very low heat star, so it's not one that's going to boil off the oceans or anything.
Got it.
They believe.
There you go.
And this is actually on top of some other findings they've had from this particular planet, that there's a belief that there is a potential for some life to actually be existing within the oceans of this planet. So,
crazy stuff.
And again, not something I think that's going to be visiting us, not something we probably could even communicate with, but maybe we actually get some proof that stuff's out there.
Do they have tardigrades, or isn't that the
tardigrades? You mean
tardigrades? Yes,
it's possible. Yes. I don't know that Elie, that you're going to be able to put a POS out there just yet.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's going to be available.
We don't have a location up there.
You're already there, huh?
I'm already there. We got one store already right there.
They need a convenience store on K1 too.
We're the exclusive vendor.
There you go. That phytoplankton, those guys need their beer and cigarettes too.
Got a convenience store as well. That's right.
That's right. They need a local 7-Eleven.
Good stuff.
All right, that is what's on our radar this week. Elie Katz from
Thanks,
NRS.
Elie.
Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate having you on the show.
John, Dean, you were excellent. Really appreciate you giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Not a problem. All right, folks. Well, until next time, we'll see you out there in the nation.